Last summer, I found myself in a small garage outside Osaka, staring at a 1994 Toyota Land Cruiser with over 800,000 kilometers on the odometer. The thing looked like it had just rolled off the assembly line. When I asked the owner what his secret was, he laughed and said something I'll never forget. Americans buy sport utility vehicles to conquer mountains. We buy them to build relationships. That single sentence completely rewired how I think about vehicle ownership. And today I'm breaking down the 15 maintenance secrets that Japanese sport utility vehicle owners swear by. These are practices so effective they've turned ordinary vehicles into million-kilometer machines. Stick around until the end, because number one isn't a maintenance tip at all. It's a mindset shift that changes everything. Number 15, the sacred first 10 minutes. Here's something most SUV owners get completely wrong. That big engine sitting under your hood, it is not a machine. It is a living system that needs time to wake up. In Western countries, we fire up our SUVs and immediately hit the highway. Foot down, engine revs screaming. Japanese drivers treat those first 10 minutes like a meditation session. The practice works like this. Start the engine. Let it idle for maybe 30 seconds, not 5 minutes, just enough for oil pressure to build. Then, drive gently for the first few kilometers. No aggressive throttle, no hard cornering. Let everything reach operating temperature naturally. An engineer I met in Hiroshima put it perfectly. Your SUV's engine contains hundreds of metal parts expanding at different rates. Give them time to find harmony. This matters even more for SUVs because their larger engines have more mass to heat evenly. Rush that process and you are creating microscopic stress fractures that compound over years. Respect it, and you have just added 50,000 kilometers to your engine's life without spending a single cent. Forget what your owner's manual says about oil change intervals. Japanese SUV owners have figured out something smarter. They adjust based on how they actually drive. Think about it. Your manual assumes average conditions, but SUV owners rarely see average conditions. You are towing boats, climbing dirt roads, or sitting in traffic with the air conditioning blasting. That is severe duty, and severe duty demands shorter intervals. The Japanese approach is beautifully logical. City driving with constant stop-and-go traffic means change the oil 20% earlier than recommended. Highway cruising lets you push toward the upper limit. Lots of towing or off-road work means cut the interval nearly in half. One shop owner in Sapporo showed me his client records. SUV owners following this adaptive approach averaged 300,000 kilometers before needing major engine work. Those following standard intervals reached half that distance. The extra oil changes cost maybe a few $100s per year. Engine replacements cost tens of thousands. The math is not complicated. Number 13, the Sunday morning hood ritual. Every Sunday morning across Japan, you will see SUV owners standing in their driveways with the hood up and a cup of coffee in hand. They are not fixing anything. They are looking. This weekly inspection takes 5 minutes and catches problems months before they become emergencies. Coolant level dropping slightly? It could be a tiny leak that is easy to fix now and catastrophic later. Brake fluid looking cloudy? Time for a flush before you lose stopping power on a mountain descent. What makes this habit powerful for SUV owners specifically is that these vehicles work harder than sedans. They carry more weight, generate more heat, and experience more vibration. Problems develop faster, which means catching them early matters more. A technician in Fukuoka told me his shop sees maybe one roadside emergency per year from clients who do weekly checks. From those who do not, Dozens. 5 minutes. Once a week. That is the difference between an SUV that runs forever and one that leaves you stranded. This concept sounds wasteful until you understand the economics. Japanese SUV owners replace critical components before failure, and they save money doing it. Timing belts, water pumps, serpentine belts, and tensioners have predictable lifespans. Wait for them to fail on a SUV, and you are looking at catastrophic damage. If a timing belt snaps while towing a trailer uphill, your engine just became scrap metal. The Japanese philosophy treats these components like airline parts. Nobody waits for airplane engines to fail mid-flight. They replace them on schedule every time. For SUV owners, this matters doubly because the consequences of failure are magnified. Your vehicle weighs more, it carries passengers in remote locations, and it often operates far from help. A breakdown is not just inconvenient, it can be dangerous. Smart Japanese owners keep a replacement schedule posted in their garage. When a component reaches 70% of its expected lifespan, they budget for replacement. No surprises, no emergencies, just steady, predictable maintenance that keeps their SUV running decade after decade. Number 11, the 15,000-kilometer deep inspection. Standard service intervals check the obvious stuff. Japanese sport utility vehicle enthusiasts go deeper, literally examining every bolt, bracket, and bushing. Every 15,000 kilometers, they conduct what amounts to a vehicle physical. Not just fluids and filters. We are talking suspension mounting points, exhaust hangers, electrical grounds, the rubber boots protecting CV joints. Anything that can loosen, crack, or corrode gets examined. Sport utility vehicles demand this level of scrutiny because of how they are used. That weekend camping trip involved washboard roads that rattled every connection point. Towing the boat meant extra stress on drivetrain mounts. These vehicles experience forces that sedans never see. A master technician in Nagoya showed me his inspection checklist. 47 items. Takes about an hour. Catches problems that would cost thousands if ignored for another 15,000 kilometers. The Western approach of waiting for warning lights is reactive medicine. The Japanese approach is preventive healthcare. One keeps you alive, the other helps you thrive. Number 10, the electronic reset protocol. Modern SUV vehicles contain dozens of computers managing everything from fuel injection to traction control. Sometimes those computers get confused. Japanese owners know how to clear the confusion without paying for diagnosis. The technique is simple but effective. When dashboard warning lights appear without an obvious cause, or when the engine seems to run rough despite no visible problems, they disconnect the battery for 15 to 20 minutes. This resets the engine control unit, ECU, to factory defaults, clearing accumulated errors and adaptations that may have drifted from optimal. An electronics specialist in Kobe estimated that 40% of warning lights he sees could be resolved this way. The sensors are not broken, the computer just needs a fresh start. For SUV owners, this matters because these vehicles accumulate adaptations faster. The engine control unit, ECU, constantly adjusts for towing loads, off-road conditions, and altitude changes. Sometimes those adjustments conflict with each other. A reset lets the system rebuild its parameters from scratch. Important caveat: Japanese owners do not use this as a bandage for real problems. They reset, then monitor. If the issue returns, they investigate further. But often, a simple restart solves what looks like an expensive repair. Number 9. Connector maintenance nobody talks about. Here is a maintenance task that virtually no Western SUV owner performs: cleaning electrical connectors. Japanese owners do it religiously, and it saves them fortunes. Every electrical sensor in your SUV communicates through connectors, metal contacts that can corrode, oxidize, and accumulate grime. When these connections degrade, sensors send faulty signals. The ECU compensates incorrectly. Performance suffers. Warning lights illuminate. The fix takes minutes. Disconnect the connector. Apply electrical contact cleaner. Let it dry. Add a tiny amount of dielectric grease to prevent future corrosion. Reconnect. SUV owners are particularly vulnerable because they encounter more moisture, dust, and vibration than typical vehicles. That river crossing last summer exposed dozens of connectors to water. That dusty construction site coated everything in grit. A technician in Osaka showed me a Lexus LX that came in with multiple warning lights and erratic transmission behavior. Previous shops quoted thousands for module replacement. He cleaned the connectors, charged $50, and the SUV ran perfectly. The modules were fine. Their connections were not. Number 8. Throttle body resurrection. When your SUV starts idling roughly or hesitating on acceleration, most owners fear the worst. Injector failure, sensor problems, computer malfunction. Japanese owners check the throttle body first. This component regulates airflow into your engine. Over time, it accumulates carbon deposits and oil residue that interfere with precise air metering. The engine compensates, but imperfectly. Performance degrades gradually enough that you do not notice until it is significant. The Japanese solution involves periodic cleaning and recalibration. Remove the throttle body, clean it with an appropriate solvent, and reinstall it. Then, perform the electronic relearning procedure so the engine control unit recognizes the restored baseline. For SUVs with larger engines, this matters more because more air passes through the system. More air means more opportunity for contamination buildup. Regular attention keeps everything operating within design parameters. The remarkable thing is this maintenance costs almost nothing, but it restores the responsiveness that owners often assume is simply aging. Your SUV is not aging, it is dirty. Clean it properly and it will feel new again. Number 7. The mass airflow sensor secret. The mass airflow sensor might be the most important component most sport utility vehicle owners have never heard of. Japanese owners clean theirs every 20,000 kilometers, and the benefits are enormous. This sensor measures incoming air so the engine control unit can calculate proper fuel delivery. When it reads incorrectly, even by small percentages, everything suffers. Fuel economy drops, power decreases, emissions increase. The catalytic converter works harder and wears faster. The cleaning procedure is remarkably simple. Locate the sensor in the intake tract and remove it carefully. Spray it with a cleaner made for mass airflow sensors. Let it dry completely, then reinstall it. Sport utility vehicles benefit dramatically from this maintenance because their larger engines require precise air measurement across a wider range of conditions. A dirty mass airflow sensor might only cause subtle problems in a small sedan. In a sport utility vehicle working hard while towing or climbing, the same contamination creates noticeable power loss and potential engine damage. A fuel economy specialist in Tokyo tracked customers who cleaned their mass airflow sensors regularly. The average improvement was 12 to 15% in fuel economy. Over the life of a sport utility vehicle, that adds up to thousands in saved fuel costs from a 20-minute maintenance task. In Western countries, fuel injector cleaning means an expensive shop visit with specialized equipment. Japanese SUV owners have developed a simpler approach that works surprisingly well. High-quality fuel system cleaners, added to the tank periodically, dissolve carbon deposits throughout the injection system while you drive. The key is using genuine professional-grade products not the cheap additives that line convenience store shelves, and applying them preventively rather than waiting for problems. Some Japanese owners take this further with periodic Italian tune-ups, extended highway drives at higher revolutions per minute that burn off accumulated carbon throughout the combustion chamber. The combination of chemical cleaning and thermal purging keeps injectors spraying optimally for hundreds of thousands of kilometers. SUVs benefit particularly because their larger fuel systems collect more deposits. That V8 engine has 8 injectors accumulating carbon instead of 4. The stakes for keeping them clean are correspondingly higher. One fleet manager in Yokohama showed me maintenance records for delivery SUVs in his company. Those following the Japanese fuel system protocol averaged over 400,000 kilometers before needing injector service. Industry standard, around 150,000 kilometers. Number 5, the ground cable gospel. If I had to pick one secret that separates Japanese SUV maintenance from everyone else's, it might be this: they obsess over ground cables. Every electrical system needs a return path to the battery. In vehicles, this happens through ground cables connecting components to the chassis and engine block. When these connections corrode or loosen, and they always do eventually, electrical gremlins multiply. The symptoms are maddening: intermittent starting problems, flickering lights, erratic sensor readings, mysterious warning lights that come and go, a transmission that sometimes shifts strangely. Each symptom prompts expensive diagnosis that often leads nowhere because the actual problem is invisible corrosion on a $15 cable. Japanese SUV owners check every ground point annually. They remove connections, wire brush the contact surfaces, apply conductive grease, and retorque properly. Some even add supplementary ground straps to critical circuits. The payoff is extraordinary. A mechanic in Yokohama told me that cleaning grounds resolves 90% of the electrical mystery cases he sees. Customers arrive expecting $1,000 repairs and leave paying for an hour of labor. For SUVs, this matters more because vibration and environmental exposure accelerate ground degradation. That off-road adventure shook every connection loose. That beach trip coated everything in corrosive salt air. Regular attention prevents cumulative damage. Number 4, battery worship. Western drivers treat batteries as disposable. They use them until they die, then replace them. Japanese SUV owners treat batteries as precious, and the batteries last twice as long because of it. The philosophy starts with prevention. Never let the battery fully discharge. If the SUV will not be driven for weeks, either disconnect the battery terminals or connect a maintenance charger. Keep the terminals immaculately clean and protect them with anti-corrosion spray. Japanese owners go further. They monitor battery voltage regularly, catching declining performance before it causes starting problems. When voltage drops, they apply slow trickle charging to restore full capacity, rather than jump starting the vehicle and hoping for the best. For SUV vehicles, battery health matters more because these vehicles demand more from their electrical systems. Bigger starters draw more current, more accessories. More computers require stable power. A weak battery does not just cause starting problems, it stresses the alternator and can corrupt sensitive electronics. The lifespan difference is remarkable. Western SUV owners typically replace batteries every 3 to 4 years. Japanese owners running the same vehicle commonly report 7 to 10 years from a single battery. Multiply that savings across a vehicle's lifetime, and the financial impact is significant. But more importantly, healthy batteries protect everything else in the electrical system, creating compounding benefits throughout the SUV. Ask any experienced mechanic what kills engines, and overheating tops the list. Japanese sport utility vehicle owners understand this deeply, treating their cooling systems with almost religious dedication. The discipline starts with coolant, not just checking levels, but changing the fluid on schedule with the correct specification for the engine's metallurgy. Using the wrong coolant or letting it degrade causes internal corrosion that destroys engines from within. But Japanese owners go beyond fluid maintenance. They inspect hoses for swelling or cracking. They check the radiator for debris blocking airflow. They verify that cooling fans operate correctly. They test thermostats for proper function. They examine water pump weep holes for early leak signs. Sport utility vehicles require this attention because they generate more heat while often operating in challenging conditions, such as climbing mountain grades while towing, crawling through sand that reduces airflow, or idling for extended periods with the air conditioning running. Each scenario stresses the cooling system beyond normal sedan duty. A cooling system specialist in Sendai tracks customer engines that fail from overheating. Customers who follow Japanese maintenance protocols experience essentially zero failures. Customers who follow Western wait until it breaks approaches suffer regular catastrophic losses, often costing more than the vehicle's value. Number 2, climate control as engine protection. Most sport utility vehicle owners think of air conditioning as a comfort feature. Japanese owners understand it is actually part of the powertrain protection system. Here is the connection most people miss. Your air conditioning compressor draws significant power from the engine. When the system works efficiently, that draw is manageable. When it is struggling due to clogged filters, low refrigerant, or dirty condensers, the draw increases dramatically. Your engine works harder, fuel economy suffers. Under the hood, temperatures rise. Japanese sport utility vehicle owners maintain their climate systems obsessively. They clean the cabin filters regularly. They inspect condenser fins for debris. They verify refrigerant levels and pressure. They clean evaporator coils to prevent mold and airflow restriction. The benefits extend beyond comfort. A properly functioning air conditioning system actually helps regulate under-the-hood temperatures, especially at idle. The condenser fan moves air across the radiator even when the vehicle is not moving. If you lose that airflow because of neglecting the air conditioning system, cooling efficiency drops. For sport utility vehicles frequently used in hot climates or for towing, this relationship becomes critical. That air conditioning system is not a luxury. It is infrastructure that supports the entire vehicle thermal management. Treat it accordingly. Number 1, the family member philosophy. Everything I've described, all 14 maintenance practices, flows from one foundational belief that Japanese SUV owners hold universally. They do not see their vehicle as a machine to be used and discarded. They see it as a family member deserving respect and care. This is not sentimentality. It is practical wisdom expressed through daily behavior. When a Japanese owner parks their Land Cruiser, they notice if it made any unusual sounds. They glance underneath for drips. They feel how the brakes responded. They pay attention constantly, catching small changes before they become large problems. When they wash their SUV, they are not just cleaning, they are inspecting. That stone chip in the paint gets touched up immediately before rust spreads. That wheel well collecting mud gets cleaned out before it traps moisture against metal. When they hand the keys to a family member, they explain the vehicle's quirks and current condition. Knowledge transfers between generations. The next owner inherits not just the SUV, but the relationship with it. A master mechanic in Kyoto compared it to bonsai cultivation. He said anyone can keep a tree alive for a year. Keeping it beautiful for a century requires daily attention to small details. Cars are the same. This philosophy explains why Japanese SUVs routinely exceed 1 million kilometers, while identical vehicles elsewhere barely reach 200,000. The hardware is the same. The engineering is the same. The difference is entirely in how owners relate to their machines. What this means for you. You do not need to live in Japan to adopt Japanese maintenance philosophy. You just need to shift your perspective. Stop seeing maintenance as an expense. Start seeing it as investment protection. Stop waiting for problems. Start preventing them. Stop treating your SUV as disposable. Start building a relationship with it. Implement even half of what I have described today, and your SUV will reward you with years of additional service, dramatically lower repair costs, and reliability you can actually trust. The Japanese have not discovered any secret technology. They have simply decided that caring for vehicles properly is worth the effort. That decision, repeated daily across millions of owners, has created a reputation for reliability that the entire world envies. Your SUV can join that legacy. The choice is yours. Drop a comment telling me which of these practices you are going to implement first. And if you found this valuable, subscribe, because next week I am revealing the specific tools Japanese mechanics use that you have probably never seen before.